So in this video, I'm going to show you how to essentially restore the AdventureWorks sample database in Microsoft SQL Server, specifically through SQL Server Management Studio. And so the AdventureWorks database is kind of a fictitious database created by Microsoft. It's really nice because it takes full advantage of the relational model. It has a lot of features and idiosyncrasies that you might see in real life data, and so it's pretty close to about as actual data as you can have without actually having it. So on their GitHub page, the AdventureWorks, it's under Microsoft's GitHub page, the AdventureWorks sample databases page. You'll go down specifically to AdventureWorks OLTP full database backups, and so you're going to download this. If you have SQL Server 2019, which if you're part of this course or following my other videos, that's what I would have instructed you to use. You could download. You'll want to download the 2019 version. If for some reason you have a different instant or a different version or an older version of SQL Server, you want to essentially choose the year that aligns with that version. So I'm going to download the AdventureWorks 2019.bak or backup file. You'll see it's downloading here. It takes a minute, and so this is going to download by default into my downloads folder, and you'll want to move it to somewhere that makes sense. One thing that with SQL Server that you need to be careful with for sometimes is really permissions. The easiest way to ensure that you're not going to have any issues is the downloads. You'll move the download file. I'm just going to move it simply to my C drive. And you'll see that I already downloaded it here. I didn't realize I'd already done that. And so this kind of circumvents any, administrator kind of user-based stuff, issues that you might run into. So I put it there on my C drive. And then the next step is ultimately to restore that database within SQL Server. And so right now I'm not connected to a SQL Server. You see the Object Explorer window on the left-hand side is blank. A couple different ways you can do this: connect database engine, and then you'll get the connect to server prompt. I believe you could also access this through the file, through the toolbar at the top. And I'm going to connect and see my prior video if you need to know about connecting, how to connect to a server ultimately. And so on the data, you'll see a couple different nodes over here. Let's see if I can make this bigger at all. Maybe not. I don't think I can expand the Object Explorer anymore. But you'll see a databases node here. Security, you'll have various nodes, right? And underneath databases, there's really nothing that you'll have by default. But if you right-click the databases and go to Restore Database and click that, and then you'll want to select the Device Radio button. You'll select the ellipses over to the right to ultimately select the database, the backup database file. So we're going to select that. We're going to add. And I'm just going to click my C drive. You'll see that this is why it's also easier to just put it on your C drive, because navigating the old-fashioned way through the hierarchy is not exactly the most user-friendly experience. So if I click on the C drive, and you'll see the AdventureWorks 2019.bak file, I'll click OK. Then I click OK again. And you'll see that it performs some steps. It's ready up here, and we'll click OK. And so it's going to back it up. It was restored successfully. So you'll see underneath the databases node that the AdventureWorks database is displayed. And if you expand that node, you'll see various additional nodes underneath that database that are associated with it. Tables is ultimately where all the data is stored. So you're going to see, call it 50 tables in there. So that's part of the database. There's also, we'll maybe talk about this a little bit more in another video, but there's also, stored procedures, various functions. I'm not sure that there's going to be any here. Yes, there is. And so really you kind of have, Microsoft has kind of built this fictitious database in a way that mirrors, what you're likely to encounter.